From playing rugby league to moving over to MMA, there are some special people who can do it all. It's rare we ever see a fighter as well-rounded as this, and his achievements speak for themselves. These are the reasons why Alexander Volkanovski is a better champion than Yair Rodríguez. Where do we even start? The only reason these guys both happen to be featherweight champs at the same time is because Alex did what very few ever attempt. He went up in weight to challenge one of the toughest guys the sport has ever seen, none other than Islam Makhachev. But that does not take anything away from Yair, as he did win his interim belt fair and square, with a win over Josh Emmett, who is certainly a legit contender, and with a career spanning over a decade. It's easy to see why he got a shot at the belt. He's also had some big wins at featherweight over the years. He's beat Josh Emmett, Brian Ortega, and Jeremy Stephens in recent years. He knocked the Korean Zombie out with one of the most spectacular elbow KOs ever. And he's even got names like Dan Hooker, Andre Fili, Alex Caceres, and even BJ Penn under his belt. But let's just be honest, although he's an impressive contender, his accolades just don't compare to those of Alex the Great Volkanovski. I mean, come on. There was a reason he was, pound for pound, #1 in the world, when Yair Rodríguez has never even made the top 10. Not just anyone can cement themselves as the best in the world on the official list. We've seen guys like John Jones, Jose Aldo, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Kamaru Usman, and Anderson Silva make that list. In fact, there have only been 8 people to ever reach that spot, and Alex is one of them. Even featherweight legends like Max Holloway and Conor McGregor never made that list. Let's find out why Alex did it. For a start, Alex has only lost twice in his whole MMA career, and only once in the UFC. This man started fighting at welterweight and eventually cut down to featherweight. This is no easy feat, and one that requires insane discipline and dedication. He burst onto the UFC featherweight scene in 2017 and took out everyone they threw at him. His first big win, though, was against Chad Mendes in 2018, where he knocked him out and earned the fight of the night. Impressive, but not enough to earn him the pound-for-pound #1 in the world spot. He then faced Jose Aldo, who, although some would say was past his prime, was still the king and the only other featherweight to also hold that pound-for-pound #1 spot. He beat Aldo, and then only one man remained. His name was Max Blessed Holloway. We can't stress enough just how feared and respected Holloway was at the time. Prior to his fight with Alex, the only person who'd bested him at featherweight was the notorious Conor McGregor all the way back in 2013. Max was also the only featherweight that Conor didn't KO. After that fight, Max took out every single featherweight contender that the UFC threw at him. In spectacular fashion, too. He knocked out Aldo twice. He brutalized Brian Ortega and defeated many more big featherweight names, including Yair Rodríguez. So when Alex was set to face him for the first time in 2019, people weren't expecting much. Holloway was the clear favorite, and nobody, I mean nobody, would have predicted they would fight 3 times. To make it even crazier, Alex won every single fight with Holloway. The only reason they even fought the 3rd time was because the second fight was a split decision. And as Holloway was so renowned, they gave him another chance. But even the self-titled best boxer in the UFC was no match for Alex. Although there's no doubt that Yair Rodríguez is a legitimate contender, you just can't compare his resume with Volkanovski's. But sometimes records can be misleading and don't always show who's the better fighter. Therefore, it's important to compare the two fighting styles. Yair has a flashy taekwondo-based style that is exciting to watch. With flashy kicks and spinning attacks, it looks more like a video game than real life. It means he's got more chance of being on the highlight reels. But at the end of the day, it's about who can win the fight from any position. This is where Volk shines. He's so well-rounded, it's hard to believe he only started fighting at the age of 23. Most fighters have been doing it a lot longer and still choose to specialize in one aspect of the game. There have only ever been a few fighters as well-rounded as Alex. The discipline and dedication it takes are on another level. But when you do become that well-rounded, then you can choose where the fight goes. Fighting a better striker? Take them down. Fighting a better wrestler? Punch them in the face. This is why Alex is clearly the better champion. Yair may be flashy and exciting, but Volk has mastered the fundamentals. Come on, who else is going to go up in weight class and face one of the scariest guys in the world and almost beat him? When Volk fought Makhachev, it showcased just how great he really is. No one expected him to win, and he put on a masterful performance, highlighting just how well-rounded he is. It ended in a decision, but a lot of fans and fighters alike gave it to Volk. His well-rounded skill set is one of the reasons he's so successful, but that alone isn't it. When it comes to strategy and game planning, Volkanovski is second to none. It's one thing to have good striking and wrestling skills, but if you don't know when to use them, it's pretty meaningless. He's an expert at making adjustments mid-fight to take advantage of whatever weaknesses his opponent has displayed. This level of adaptability is what separates good fighters from great ones. As soon as Volk sees any weakness, he makes them pay for it. And if he's got any weaknesses, he quickly learns them and turns them into strengths. A great example of his adaptability and high fight IQ is in the second Holloway fight. A lot of people gave the fight to Holloway, as he was able to land a lot of strikes and neutralize the leg kicks that were so successful in the first fight. So when their third fight was scheduled, fans were eager to see who would come out on top. It could have gone either way. That was how it was on paper. But in reality, Volk dominated the fight. Any holes in his game that were shown in the second fight were completely closed. He let the world see how adaptable and strategic he is. So you may be asking, how can a guy who spent the beginning of his adult life in a completely different sport, a guy who started out at welterweight and managed to drop nearly 30 pounds, a guy who started training at 23 years of age, be so much better than almost everyone else? He attributes his success to his strict discipline and professional approach to diet and training. He switches between multiple gyms that all have different specialties. He keeps in shape all year, whether he has a fight or not. Some guys are known to go a little bit off the rails after a big win, but not Volkanovski. The guy is a true Spartan and prefers training and being a family man to partying and other distractions that fighters of his caliber face. He doesn't stress about weight cuts, winning or losing. He just does the work every day, and the results speak for themselves. He also tries his best to be as nice as possible and avoid trash talk. In a world where conflict and quarrels pay, he's sticking to the root of the traditional martial artist, and you've got to respect him for it. When asked about this, Volk says, "Oftentimes we're portrayed as thugs, but anyone who really knows us knows we understand we work hard, diet hard, and the commitment is full on. Martial arts are always about respect and discipline. A true martial artist in every sense of the word." And his achievements prove the value of living a healthy and disciplined life. This is to take nothing away from Yair, who is a legit featherweight and also a true martial artist. But when you compare the two, there's no doubt that Alex Volkanovski is the better champion.